When my youngest son told me, "Mom, we just don't have space for you anymore," I didn't cry. I smiled. Not because it didn't hurt, but because something inside me had already broken long before that moment. I remember standing at the doorway of his house, holding a small suitcase. It wasn't heavy, just a few clothes, some medicine, and an old photo album I carried with me everywhere. Behind him, I could hear my grandchildren laughing. The TV was on, life was moving like normal, but for me, everything had stopped. He didn't look me in the eyes when he said it. He kept glancing back like someone inside was waiting for him to finish this quickly. "I'll figure something out for you," he added quietly. "Maybe a place where you'll be more comfortable." More comfortable. I nodded. I even said, "It's okay, son." But it wasn't okay, because this was the same boy who once held my hand tight when crossing the street, the same child who would cry if I left the room for even a minute. And now, he couldn't even make space for me in his home? That day, I didn't argue. I didn't remind him of the nights I stayed up when he was sick. I didn't remind him how I skipped meals so he could eat well. I simply turned around and walked away. And as I walked, I made a quiet decision in my heart. A decision that would change everything. I wasn't always alone. There was a time when my house was full of noise. Laughter, arguments, running footsteps, the smell of fresh food filling every corner. I had 3 children, 2 sons and 1 daughter. My husband passed away when my youngest was only 10 years old. That was the hardest time of my life. I still remember the silence of that night, the way the house felt empty without his voice. But I didn't let myself fall apart. I had children to raise, so I became both mother and father. I worked from home, sewing clothes for neighbors. Some nights I stayed up past midnight just to finish orders so I could pay their school fees on time. I never complained because every time I looked at their faces, I felt strong again. My oldest son, Ahmed, was always serious. He studied hard and stayed out of trouble. My second son, Bilal, was more emotional. He used to sit next to me while I worked and ask questions about everything. And my daughter, Sana, she was my heart. Soft, caring, always helping me in the kitchen. We weren't rich, but we were happy. At least, I thought we were. As the years passed, my children grew up. They got jobs, got married. One by one, they left the house. I remember the day my daughter got married. After everyone left, I sat alone in her room. Her clothes were gone. Her laughter was gone. That was the first time I felt a deep emptiness. But I told myself, this is life. Children grow up, they build their own families, and parents learn to live quietly. For a while, my sons still visited often. They brought groceries, sat with me, asked how I was. But slowly, those visits got shorter, then less frequent, then almost gone. It didn't happen all at once. That's the strange thing about distance. It grows quietly. At first, it was small things. Missed calls, late replies. "Mom, I'm busy, I'll call you later." Later never came. One winter, I got sick and called Ahmed. He said, "Mom, I'm in a meeting, I'll come by tonight." He never came. Bilal sent medicine through a delivery driver, and my daughter said her in-laws had guests. I told them I was fine, but I wasn't. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, and I remember thinking, if something happens to me tonight, no one will even know. That thought stayed with me. After that, I stopped calling them so much. I didn't want to feel like a burden. Months passed. Then one day, Ahmed said, "Mom, maybe you should stay with one of us. It's not safe for you to live alone." For a moment, I felt relieved. Maybe they still cared. So I agreed. I first went to Ahmed's house. His wife was polite, but distant. I could feel it in small ways. The way she cleaned the kitchen again after I used it, the way conversations stopped when I walked into the room. I tried to help. I cooked, folded laundry, but it never felt like my home. After a few months, Ahmed said, "Maybe you should spend some time with Bilal, too." I understood. I didn't argue. At Bilal's house, things were better at first. He was more affectionate. But his wife had her own frustrations. One evening, I heard her say, "I didn't sign up for this. We need our space." That sentence stayed in my heart. After that, I tried to disappear. I stayed in my room, ate quietly, spoke only when needed. Still, I felt unwanted. The final moment came at Bilal's house. It was a quiet evening. Rain was falling outside. I was sitting by the window, looking at old photos. Bilal walked in. He looked uncomfortable. "Mom," he said. I knew something was coming. "We've been thinking, maybe it's better if you move somewhere else." I didn't respond right away. I just looked at him. He avoided my eyes. "There are good places," he said. "Retirement homes. They take care of everything." Retirement home. Those words felt heavy. I asked softly, "Do you want me to leave?" He didn't answer. And that silence told me everything. That night, I didn't sleep. I packed my small suitcase, and early in the morning, before anyone woke up, I left. No drama, no tears, just quiet footsteps. I didn't go to a retirement home. Instead, I rented a small room. It was simple. One bed, one chair, a small window. But it was peaceful. For the first time in years, I felt something unexpected. Freedom. No one watching me. No one judging me. No one making me feel like I didn't belong. I started living slowly, cooking for myself, reading old books, sometimes just sitting by the window, watching people walk by. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. My children didn't call, not once. At first, it hurt, but slowly the pain became quiet. Then one day, I took out my old documents, my will. I had written it years ago. Everything was in their names. The house, savings, jewelry. Because I believed that's what parents do. They give everything. But now, I paused, and I asked myself one simple question. If they don't matter to me now, why should my absence make their lives easier later? That day, I made a decision. I changed my will. Most of my property I donated to a charity that cares for elderly people. People like me. People who have stories, but no one to hear them. I kept a small portion for myself. Not for my children, but for my own care. And when I signed those papers, I felt something lift from my heart. Not anger, not revenge, just peace. Years have passed since that day. I still live in that small room. Sometimes I hear children laughing outside, and I smile. Sometimes I look at old photos, and I remember. But I no longer wait. I no longer expect, because I've learned something important. Love cannot be forced. Care cannot be demanded, and respect cannot be inherited. It has to be given, freely. If I could say one thing to my children today, it wouldn't be anger. Just this. I hope you never feel the loneliness you gave me. And to anyone listening, take care of your parents. Not because they need you, but because one day you'll understand what it means to wait for someone who never comes. Life moves fast, but time remembers everything. In the end, it's not money, not property, not inheritance. It's the small moments, the phone calls, the visits, the love that truly matter. I lost my family slowly, but in losing them, I found myself. And some